What you say?
Waiting on that confirmation email.
Yeah, waiting on that confirmation. Where folks at? Get on. Ugh. What up, Taj? Look, I want to go ahead and start talking about it, but I'm not going to do that yet. Recipe? Ain't nobody rushing. Nobody, what you talking about? It's all good, though. Hey, what's up? DGZ Pablo. Did I say that right? I think I said that right. Go ahead. Get some hearts. Did I say that right? Tell me I said that right. Fine. But yeah, it was crazy. Invite your followers. We did a panel discussion entitled, Why Do Africans Hate Black People? Or is it Black People Hate Africans? So of course I'm here on North Carolina A&T's campus. And I'm actually president of the African Club here on campus. And it was crazy. Like I want to talk about it, but I'm waiting till y'all add y'all followers. So go ahead, add on your followers and all that good stuff, and then I'm gonna go ahead and talk about this panel discussion that we had right here at North Carolina A&T State University in Greensboro. Is that no? That's not. What's up, Miss Susie? Is that how you say that? Did I say that right? Miss Susie. Did I say that right? Trust I said that right. But anyways, I'm waiting on y'all to invite y'all followers so I can let y'all know how it was. Hey, what's up? Where's that name from? Miss Susie. Where's the name from? No, it's not Nigerian. That's it. Zambia. Wow. Shout out to it. But yes, just like I said, president of the African Club here at North Carolina A&T State University, and I'm just trying to let y'all know how this panel discussion went. Just like I keep saying, I'm trying to tell y'all see this title right here, Why Do Africans Hate Black People? Or is it Black People Hate Africans? When I tell you it got heated up in there, folks standing up and just going, and I was like, yo. And then of course we also had people, we actually had like a legit mic out there, so people, if you had a question, you can come and you can, what's up, Stricker? And then like we had people come up. If you had a question, you can go up to the mic and ask, of course respectfully. We did have a facilitator, which was great. What's up, Miss Exclusive? I'm trying to tell y'all about this panel discussion. How we strategically, purposely set it up. We had an African college student who represented the African college student population. Alongside with that, we also had a Black American college student represent that population. And then we had two older guys. One was a professor, a Black American professor, and then we had another African professor, just to make sure it was balanced. Because if you're trying to do panel discussions and you don't have it balanced, it's really not gonna be good. So you had to make sure it was balanced, and you had to make sure you had a strong facilitator too, who can balance out the crowd and with everything what was going on. But like I said, I want to keep telling you guys about it, but I need you guys to invite your followers, because you guys will be surprised with everything that I'm gonna say. Because afterwards there was so many people coming up, hey, you guys need to do a part 2. When's the next part 2 coming up? All this, like, it was a lot. But yeah, what's up, Cave Fazio? Faso. How do you say that? Am I saying that right? No, probably not. Just chill. I tried. I did try. I tried. But I'm glad you joined. Flood this thing up with some hearts if you're ready for me to go ahead and start talking about this panel discussion, because it was. I'm trying to brace myself. This is something like a video that I need to go ahead and post on YouTube, because it's a conversation that most people think about. My first name is Cello. My last name is Kavuna. Yes, I do have an American accent, but you probably wouldn't know it unless I said something. So both of my parents are from the Democratic Republic of the Congo. And so it's weird because me being American in a setting with other Africans or other people who were born in Africa, or parents are like born in Africa, and both your parents are African as well. In a setting like that, where I was born and raised in Raleigh, North Carolina, shout out for those who are from Raleigh, North Carolina. Yeah, in a setting like that, I'm the only American in the crowd, which is weird, because in a setting to where nobody's grandparents are African, I'm the only African in the crowd. Weird, right? Right. So I had this class. I take a theater for non-theater majors class, right? And then so what it was is I had a professor. He came to me, and of course it's an open class. Everybody's free to do whatever. And then so what it was is folks were saying, the professor was like, okay, I got a question for you. I was like, okay, go ahead and ask the question. The question he was saying is, why is it? And he started thinking about his words for a second. And he was like, okay, bump it. He was like, I'm just about to be blunt and just say it. He said, why do Africans hate black people? The whole class was like, yeah. I was like, oh, hold on. Let me just breathe for a second. Dang, all these questions. And, of course, I gave my reasons and whatnot. And I was just like, yo, folks is really, feeling like this. And then so from there, I was like, look, we need to go ahead and make this panel discussion happen. Of course, I brought it up to my e-board, all that good stuff. Welcome everybody who's coming onto the chat and everything like that. And of course, I'll give my reasons in just a second. But welcome to the chat. I'm here at North Carolina A&T State University right here in Greensboro, North Carolina. Aggie Pride. Any Aggies on? Any Aggies? But yeah, so I'm president of the African Club here. And then so we did a panel discussion tonight, and it was entitled, Why Do Africans Hate Black People? Or is it Black People Hate Africans? So we just got through with that panel discussion. The timing was from 8 to 9:30. We didn't finish till about 9:45, 10 o'clock. So of course it was real. But yeah, so I'm just giving a recap about how it went from my standings and all that good stuff. So my reasons for that, back to Tajma, to your question. Yeah, I'm about to recap because it was crazy. It was crazy. But the reason why it seems as if there's that disconnect is simply because lack of knowledge. That's what it really is. Most Africans think Black Americans are this one way. Most Black Americans think Africans are all this one way. And clearly on both sides there's a lot to learn about both, big time. And I can say that from a standpoint to where me being born and raised here, and understanding culture over there, kind of got it good, in a sense. But it's just always weird, whenever dealing with stuff like that. But it's really just a lack of knowledge. In my opinion, we're all one people. We all came from the same place. Even if your great grandmother, grandparents came from somewhere, hey, we're still all of one. We're all brown skinned. That's the idea behind it. But yeah, so going back to the panel discussion, And those who didn't hear earlier, we had an African college student represent the African population, and we also had a Black American college student represent that whole idea or of what it is they're feeling like. And then we had two older people, Professor, who is African, representing the African older perspective, and then we had a Black American professor representing that view and perspective. So we definitely had it balanced. In fact, our facilitator, her mom is Nigerian and her dad is Black American. So of course she had it like she was in the middle of everybody too. She's a great facilitator. I'll definitely give her that. Then so the event we had about, and of course it's not about numbers, but we had about 103 college students in the atmosphere. And then on Periscope it was about 63, it says 63 live viewers and 12 replay viewers. And then so the panel discussion, we had a mic out there so people could ask questions. As soon as I got a question on Periscope, I went up to the mic. And when I went up to the mic, I was cutting like, I'm telling you, it was about 7 or 8 people. And it was just like, dang. So many people, they came up to me afterwards. It was like, yo, we got to do a part 2 of this. We got to make sure you guys make sure you guys do it and everything like that. And I was like, yeah, we're definitely going to do it again. I was like, if anything, we can make this each semester type thing. Because it's a topic that is one of those underlying things that you're not sure how to bring up. But at the same time, you got to talk about it. There was some questions as far as why is it seeming like is a trend and it's cool now to wear, hey, from Brazil, what's up? It was like, I work with a dude from Congo who says he can't stand Black Americans. It's actually crazy because I'm actually Congolese myself. Both my parents are from the Congo. If you're wondering why they say that, oftentimes most Africans, when they come over to America or anything like that, what usually happens is they take note of how Americans take life and materialistic things for granted. In fact, they tend to pay too much attention, and of course I'm American too, so I can speak on this. Tend to pay too much attention to the type of phone that we have, what kind of car that we drive. And I agree too. My Congolese brother, bonsoir. We tend to pay too much attention to detail to stuff that really doesn't matter. So when you have Africans who actually come, take some grand, government calls us African American, even though that's what's up. Yes, and I'm really from Africa. And it's actually interesting that you brought that up because one of the students actually brought that up and was saying, we keep talking about what Africans and Black Americans are doing to each other, but we're not talking about the root and the cause of everything that's been happening. And how the government has actually helped separate every single thing that we're trying to do. Any type of collab of anything happening. Welcome, lovely. And then so little stuff like that. And then so that's why it always comes off as Africans hate Black Americans or Africans can't stand Black Americans because Black Americans are lazy or Americans are lazy in general. That's that. If you had any questions or anything like that you would love to ask, you could just feel free to post it, and then I'll answer it the best way I can, and I could give you guys the perspectives that were brought up at the panel discussion tonight. But yes, like I said, I'm a student here at North Carolina A&T State University, right here in Greensboro, North Carolina. Hey, Aggie Pride. And then so yeah, we just got out of a panel discussion, and it was entitled, "Why do Africans hate Black people?" Or is it Black people hate Africans? And then so like I said, it got intense. There was this one girl who actually stood up, and she was actually saying, when people say they want an African chick, or when they want, hey, NCAT, what's up? And yes, I am African, even though I don't have an African accent. I was born and raised in Raleigh, North Carolina, but both my parents are from the Congo in Africa. So It's actually it was real interesting growing up. But yeah, so the girl, she got up and she said, when most people all of a sudden think, don't forget Africans were colonized, whereas Black Americans was forced to have different perspectives. Aren't all Black people Africans? And let me get to the story with this girl. Then I'll actually address that too, because it's actually a good point. Yeah, she stood up and she was saying, oh, when guys talk about how they want Africans now and all that good stuff, I'm brown skinned. They're not always talking about Lupita, or they're not always talking about the dark skin. This one dude, one of the panelists, he said, excuse me, I don't know where you come from. He was like, I like mine dark. He was like, I love my dark ladies. And then he was just going in the whole place was just going crazy, off of that. And that was just one of the many examples of how the night was so crazy. But yeah, when I was, handing out the flyers, and all that good stuff for the panel discussion, there was a Black professor, and she was like, I don't understand, because my great grandparents, she was like, they were African, but that's the closest lineage that I have of African, so I don't consider myself African. I'm Black and I'm proud. I was like, okay, I respect that opinion. And then when I went to go hand another flyer over in another department, the very next professor was saying the exact opposite thing. Us Black people, I don't understand why we act like we're not African. We're still African, so I don't see why we trying to make this a big thing. This shouldn't even be a topic. And she was just going in, she had her opinion. And I was just saying, like, it's just crazy how you have one side that's just like that. Black friends like Black women. Why is that? Generalized, but not. Us Black people, we got our own problems. We got our own things. We got our own situations. But yeah, it just goes off of something as little as that. You have one professor who's Black American. They're on the perspective, don't call me African at all, because I don't have no direct lineage to Africa. And then you have another professor, the very next professor I talked to, I don't know what Black people act like we're not African. And it's just like, there's that divide that's right there. Even just having the title of Black American and African American, I mean, that's a divide in itself. Same thing with white men. True, and that's actually a point that actually somebody brought up at the panel discussion. And it's just one of those things that actually people just don't want to talk about it. But it's like, you gotta talk about it at the end of the day, because if you don't, I mean, it's just one of those things. From an African perspective, one thing I noticed, of course, have you guys noticed, and flood this page with likes if you guys feeling it. If you guys has noticed, sort of a sudden interest in dashiki. Yeah, Kendrick Lamar says he's African. There's a sudden interest in dashikis or African print, African music, African attire, anything African, we're down and it's cool and it's hip now. I mean, have any of you guys noticed anything like that? And then so us as Africans, we'll see that and we're like, okay, embracing African culture, we love it, and it's all cool and all. However, say for myself, back when I was in 4th to 5th grade, by my own Black American people, I was being called the African booty scratcher, or Africa was the only place where wild animals and monkeys run around and they play games and we play with the kid. And it's like, now you want to wear my dashiki? Hold on, no, you gotta take that dashiki off. And that's how some Africans are feeling. Me, I'm pretty like-minded. And then so one of the things about it is there was one person on campus. Yeah, that's the media. There was just one person on campus who they had on a dashiki. And then me being president of the African Club, I was like, hey, blah, 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 I see you got on the dashiki, it looks cool and everything like that. I was like, yeah, so we got an African Club on campus. Did you want to take any interest in the African Club? No. Why would I? No. And they have on a dashiki. So I'm just like, That's your response to somebody inviting you to an African club. You got on a dashiki, an African fabric, and you don't want nothing to do with the club. And the thing about us Africans is that we know there are people who are like that. We know that there are people who just want to embrace the culture, but they don't want nothing to do with it. And it's like, you can't have that. It's like, either you're all in or you're not. And then, of course, some Africans, we already know that from the beginning. Some of those people who have on those dashikis or little stuff like that, it's just like, why? You need to go ahead and take it off. But the thing about us Africans, listen. Like this if you African. Go ahead and put a heart, because I'm about to call us out on this one. I'm about to call us out. Look, us Africans, we are so quick to judge, be judgmental, and to just automatically shut out everything. Everything. If it's not African, no, I don't want to do nothing. If they trying to do this, Black Americans try to do this, no, I'm not about it. And it's like, you can't be like that. Because the same way there's some Black Americans who are like, oh, they African over there, you can't do that. And the reason being is because some Black Americans, they feel as if when they get around Africans already put off that persona, like, oh, blah, 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 blah. And it's just like, we're the ones who are really doing it to ourselves. I mean, person upstairs, they just looking back at us just like, yep. Excuse me, just like, yep. My plan has worked out. But yeah, so like I said, we talked about it all here at North Carolina A&T. I see you guys bringing on your people, so great job. But yeah, I mean, was there any other questions that you guys wanted to bring up, or wanted to know how with the panel discussion and everything tonight? Let me know. No, we good. Where was this discussion? This discussion was on North Carolina A&T's campus in Greensboro, North Carolina. Aggie Pride, I gotta say that every time we start. What inspired it was a conversation in one of my classes. And the professor, he just came out and he asked me, he was just like, why do Africans hate Black people? And the whole class was like, yeah. And I was like, and then of course I had to give reason and I had to answer to that. But yeah, so I was like, wow, my professor in this theater class is not the only class or not the only individual who are thinking like this. I was like, we need to go ahead and open it up for a panel discussion. We had a list for the panel discussion. We had a list of questions that we were going to get to. When I tell you a list, like, we had a list. However, we only it's crazy, we only got through two of those questions just because so many of the students had questions for themselves. I have many Nigerian friends and I admire them. Black people have no identity. We know nothing about our roots, honestly. How do others feel about that? Do y'all agree? And thanks so much for sharing your opinion on that. She was saying that we don't know our roots. Also, I could go ahead and touch up on that too. And that just inspires the hatred a little bit more. And it's sometimes there's that extra bit of energy against being mad. Because say, for example, being an African, and you try to explain to somebody, oh, the meaning behind something, and then when you see that disconnect as if they're not even trying to learn, or they don't want nothing to do with it, just like how I shared an example, I was like, hey, the person who had on that dashiki, and I was like, oh yeah, there's an African club here on A&T's campus, did you want to know about it? No? Wow. And then the disgust that he had in his face, it was like, well, dang, okay, you acting like that. You need to go ahead and take off that African fabric right there if you don't want nothing to do with it. And then so the fact that us Africans, sometimes we see, I'm actually class of 2017. My expected graduation is May 2017. So I am a senior by credit hours and a junior by class here at North Carolina A&T in Greensboro, North Carolina. And then so the fact that most times we just see that bit of disgust. It just incites more. Ugh, can't stand Black Americans. Can't stand this. Can't stand that. But yeah, so that's one of those things. I wish you guys could have came. I'm telling you, and welcome. And then so the thing is, like, this panel discussion, there was so many people who came afterwards. Oh, you guys need to have more of this. I go to the ANC. So why weren't you at the panel discussion night? Was you there? I hope he was there. Yeah, no? Okay. But, yeah. Did you hear about it? Did you know about it? Miss Jenny? But, yeah, so it was one of those things to where, hey, what's up? Yeah, so, I mean, it was one of those things. No, you didn't. Tough. We had, like, email blast out. We had flyers up and posters up. So many outside people were ready to come. There was some folks from Winston-Salem State University. What are we talking about? So, what we're talking about, and welcome, you just joined, so can't be mad. Yeah, I'm talking about a recap. I'm here at North Carolina A&T State University's campus. And I'm actually president of the African Club here. And so what we did is we had a panel discussion entitled, Why Do Africans Hate Black People? Or is it that Black people hate Africans? And so I'm just giving a little recap on that panel discussion that we had tonight because it was heated. It was like, when I tell you it was heated, just because there was so many faces. Like we had GCB. You know where GCB Auditorium is at, Jenny? If you know anything about GCB Auditorium, like that place, it actually has some space to do a lot of stuff. Most clubs and student organizations, they hold their like coronations or crowning of Mr. and Mrs. in there. And we had that place about 3/4 pack in there. By the time we ended, there was still people who had questions. There was still people ready to give their opinions and everything like that. I know it was crazy. So I had it on Periscope. I was recording it earlier. I was recording 2 parts, and then now this is the recap of it. There was people who came out from the nearby schools, Winston-Salem State. There was some folks from UNCG. So it was a great event. So many people came up afterwards. Oh, y'all need to do it again. Y'all know, I'm telling you, it was crazy. It was crazy. But yeah, so I'm just answering some questions of like how some students, what their questions were and what some of the panelists answered and whatnot. In regards to my background, I was born and raised in Raleigh, North Carolina. That's why I have the American accent. However, both my parents are from the Congo in Africa. So both cultures I really, really know. Which is actually, I don't want to say it's a bittersweet thing. Of course, I'm proud of my African heritage. I love my African heritage. Just having the opportunity to just speak, if you haven't answered yet, in regards to what specifically, then I could, of course, answer the question from there. But I love being able to speak different languages, understand different dialects, accents, different foods. I love that. So whenever you can embrace that, whenever you can learn. It's so funny. One of the panelists, he was like, don't do Ancestry.com. No, don't do it. And then I'm also a business page. I was like, dang, you hurting their business. How you going I was like, how you going to call out Ancestry.com? Why do Black people hate Africans, and or vice versa? That's your question. So, of course, that was a question that was brought up during the panel discussion. And the generalization of it was just the fact that there's just lack of knowledge on both parts and a lack of wanting to know knowledge on both. I know you just joined, but I was just bringing up how there was a guy who had on a dashiki, African fabric. And I was inviting him. I was like, hey, yeah, me being president of the African Club, I was like, hey, did you know there was an African Club on campus? Did you want to be part of it? What? No, African Club. No, I don't care. Like, just the disgust in his face. And you had on an African fabric. It got real. But yeah, my views on the topic, do Africans hate Black people? it's not that there's necessarily a hate, but there's just little things that are done to incite, even putting on something like hatred to it. So, for example, it's real popular in the Black American community where embracing African culture, understanding your roots, and wanting to hear African music and little stuff like that. Yeah, that's all cool and everything now. But just like I was sharing earlier, back and forth, yeah, possibly even envy, back 4th or 5th grade, I was the boy in the class who's the African booty scratcher. I was the one where my country, all we run around is with wild monkeys and little crazy stuff like that. And then so when we see that embracement of our culture now, it's like, hold on, first you was disrespectful, now you want to all embrace it because it's hip and it's a trend now? That doesn't really make any sense. So that's really what inspires that. Some African Americans insult me all the time. And that's true. I wonder to the extent, how do they insult you? Is it because you speak with an accent? Is it because you wear different clothes? Or I wanted to go deeper into that question. How is it that you're insulted? Those who are joining and everything like that, welcome. Invite your followers, because do you think that people differentiate being African and Jamaican? Oh, that's a question right there. I was called an African booty scratcher because I'm dark skinned. Ignorance, yeah, that actually is ignorance and everything like that. What you also see, going back to the first question, Africans and Jamaicans, usually what happens is within an African club or an African organization, and like I said, you guys, invite your followers, because these are topics that people kind of want to stray away from, but at the end of the day, these are topics that need to be talked about, for real. But yeah, in regards to Africans and Jamaicans and everything like that, usually when you have an African organization, if there's a Jamaican within the group, and we actually have one, we'd rather be known as Jamaican rather than African. I find it annoying. And that's true. That's actually true. Exactly what you're saying. That's actually true. The reason behind that, one face that definitely has stuck in America, Bob Marley, of course. People know how famous he was. People know his music, playing in between movies and all that good stuff. And then the whole idea of being Rastafarian, of course, is cool. Like, people want to do that. But when you see portrayals of Africans, if you think about it, there's not, and I'm going to be real careful with this, there's a lot of great Africans like Nelson Mandela and all those good type of people. But within the entertainment industry, the entertainment industry is a whole nother topic. Within the entertainment industry, you don't find an African that's really doing it big. Yeah, you had Akon, but when was his last? And I'm not bashing my own African brother. Trust me, I'm not. But if you think about it, like, it's just crazy because you see more people wanting to be inclined or relate themselves to Jamaicans, and that's the reason why. Because they think of Bob Marley and they see how cool he was. They see the influence that he had, and they want that. They feel as if they can get more of that social appreciation being Jamaican versus being affiliated with African. You get that? So that's one of those things. Welcome on to everybody. Welcome. FMS. Welcome. I'm here at North Carolina A&T State University in Greensboro, North Carolina. And we had a panel discussion tonight. We had a panel. What's up? We had a panel discussion tonight, and yes, Naloba Kalingala. Yes. How did you know that language? What's the question? Okay. And I would love to know why. It seems as if, in fact, that's the media right there. Oh wow, check you out. And I'll go ahead and tell you why it seems. Learn as much as you can. For real. Lingala is that language. Me and my boys, we be over here speaking Lingala like it's nothing. And of course, everybody be looking at us like, oh, they talking about us, and we don't even be talking about nobody. But the thing is, the hold on, you Cong? Oh, I was about to say you Congolese and Nigerian, but that's okay, Nigerian. Hey, yeah, there's a lot of Nigerians over here. In fact, both of our club advisors are Nigerian. So, Yoruba or Igbo? That's the question for you. Yeah, so back to America and Jamaica. Simply because whenever you see, oh, okay, shout out to, I don't know any words right now, but it's okay, they'll come back to me. When you see commercials of Africa, you see pot bellies, you see flies running around people's mouths and all that good stuff. You see poverty, you see hunger, you see all this. Yes, hunger, exactly. You see all this negativity surrounded around Africa. And of course, that is lies. And that is the media. That's what people fail to realize too. People fail to realize how powerful the media is. Oh my goodness. And they just be rolling with every single thing, versus relying on every single thing that the media has to portray about Africa. How about you just save up just a little bit, and even take a trip to Nigeria. And just be there. Those who know me, I'm Congolese, of course, so I don't really I don't want to say something Nigerians, but there's beef between us, because we all know Congo is the best place. Best place out there in Africa. We all know that. Go ahead, flood this up with hearts. Yeah, we know that. But yeah, so that's when you see commercials and everything of Africa. That's why you see people, they're so distant or don't want to know more or hesitant to take a trip. We could take a honeymoon to Brazil and everything like that, but a honeymoon to Africa? What? I ain't trying to get eaten by a lion. And that's what the media wants you to think. That's exactly what they want you to think. They won't show you commercials of everything that Nigeria is doing in regards to technology. They won't show you great stuff like the Belgian government apologizing to the Congolese people for the stuff that they did. There's people who think Africa is a country. Africa is not a country. Africa is a continent. They want you to think it's a country. No, a whole continent is something larger in itself. And that's true. That's so true. So they don't want them tourist dollars going anywhere. They won't benefit. And you guys are saying some really good stuff. Like I said, just keep inviting. Just keep inviting your followers. Keep inviting. Go ahead. But yeah, and that stuff like that is true. In regards to Jamaica, I mean, if you see a commercial on TV of Jamaica, you see the beaches, you see the sand, and people want the sand. People want the blue water. People want to see stuff like that. So therefore, that's why more people are inclined to want to go to Jamaica, stuff. And Africa is actually beautiful. It is so beautiful. The culture in itself, just the different languages, just the different people. I'm telling you, and their heart over there, their heart is just so loving. And don't get me wrong. If you cross an African who's mad, oh, trust me, you don't want that, because we could get ugly. But just in general, that loving atmosphere, and the idea of unity and togetherness within the place that you're visiting yourself. Hey, that's something that you'll want to be part of. We took a mission trip to. I've been on a mission trip to Panama, which is Central American. Yeah, they have some really big heart. Disney's only in. They capitalize off. Hey. We listen out some facts over here now, especially in Canada, that if you're black, you're automatically poor. Wow. Well, I've never been to Canada. Do we have any Canadians? Do you want to like this page? Show some hearts. Okay. So I'm not familiar 100%. Okay. Shout out to you. I'm not familiar with how Canadians really receive black people. However, oftentimes what I also heard is that most black people end up going to Canada because they're more welcomed. Is that not true? Yeah, just let me know if that's not true. Welcome. Is it Bettina Ann? Is it Bettina Ann? Canada is more open to blacks in general than America. I live 15 minutes away. That's interesting. What's up, B Peachy? How do you feel about people wearing African clothing and not knowing the history? Ooh, they are. I know some people from there. Cool. Yeah, the thing is, and I'll go ahead and be honest. I'm real trim. If you really get to know me, I'm real transparent. So of course I'll let you know. It's a beautiful thing when you see people wanting to embrace African culture. It becomes ugly when you try to explain the logic and the philosophy behind the patterns of what it is that you're wearing, and you don't want nothing to do with it. You just want to wear it because everybody else is wearing. That's when it gets ugly, and that's what incites Africans to get mad. One thing Africans are bad at, I'll go ahead and tell you. One thing is Africans are bad at, and welcome. One thing that Africans are bad at is generalizations, for real. We'll say something like, all black Americans are lazy. Have you met every black American on this earth? Have you met every black American in America? No. So for you to make a generalization such as that doesn't make sense. But then the same thing could be said the other way. Most black Americans think all Africans smell. All Africans talk like... Come on. No. Not even... No. And then so, like, when you have little stuff like that, little divides like that of both parties not wanting to open up and actually take the time to get to know, to get to know is like, dang, we just butting heads. It's like, what's the point? But yeah, so welcome all those who are coming on and everything like that. I'm a student here at North Carolina A&T State University, Aggie Pride. Like I said, they believe we all speak one language. True. Do you speak African? Do I look like I speak African? Do you speak American? That's not even right. It doesn't even, like, when you're asking that question. And the thing is, you're in Fayetteville. What's up, Fayetteville? I just met somebody from Fayetteville today too. And the thing is, like, I'm gonna bring that up later. But yeah. So I mean, it's just one of those things to where it's just like, man, if you really don't take the time to open up and understand. What I was gonna say is, there are some people who really ask that question, do you speak African? And they're so serious. Like, what? Do you know what you just asked? But that's the thing. They don't know. But us as Africans, instead of being understanding and say they really don't know, we get mad at them, or we get mad at the system that they were brought up in. And all of a sudden, we don't like black Americans because they're ignorant. We don't like black Americans because they're lazy. And it's like, come on, we know better. Look at what we do. We're doing the same exact thing. So what sense does that make? Whew. But I'm telling you, like I said, we had this panel discussion tonight. You guys keep inviting your followers. Keep flooding this thing with hearts and all that good stuff. Because, hey, it was real. We had so many people saying, oh, you guys need to do part 2. When are we doing a part 2? Aggie Pride. But, yeah, so my background, yes, I'm president of the African Club out here. Even though I haven't feel like black people are stereotyped by the media. Well, black people are in general. In fact, one person at the panel discussion even said, we're not even welcomed here. So who are we to put it on other people who can be in and who can be out? There's 1,000 1,001 languages that Africans speak. Because I mean, people think Africa, although it is one continent, but there are 54 different countries with their own personalities, their own dialects, their own cultures, their own food, their own clothing. And people just fail to realize that. It'd be a nice, what's up? In the house, okay. French or only Lingala? No, I understand French better than I speak it. My parents taught us Lingala first. Of course, they wanted us to understand English first and speak that fluently. Not only because we were born and raised here, because I have some friends who were born and raised here, but when they speak English, they have accents. Our parents didn't want us to do that, so they purposely made sure we knew English fluently first. And then we were taught our tribal language entitled Lingala. Lingala. Both my parents are from the Congo, so that's where we are. Yeah, and then so there's some people who they were born and raised here, and this is most Congolese. Okay, appreciate you joining in, stopping in, and then so what usually happens is most Congolese, they're either taught English first, and then they're taught either French or Lingala. In my case, we were taught English first, and then we were taught Lingala. Alright, peace out there. And then so I was perfectly fine with it, because most of the people who are my age and they were taught, most of my peers, and they were taught like French first or Lingala first. When they speak English, even though they were born and raised here, now they have an accent. So yeah, thanks. Yeah, it's actually great. It's actually great. And what most people think when you're the only person around who's not speaking that language or who can't understand that language, most people think, oh, automatically they're talking about you. And that's not the thing at all. Don't get me wrong. Some Africans will, trust me, there are some Africans who would literally be talking about you in a different language right next to you. Yes. Those, if you didn't know that, yes, there are some Africans like that. But most of the time, since we're so natural, learn French first, then English, and a bit of Lingala. Okay. But what usually happens is just it's crazy, and it's not even that they're speaking or talking negatively about you, since they're so used to speaking their own language. When they get around you, it's not like you're another person, an outsider. They're just speaking their language because that's what's natural. And then so that's that. But yeah, like I said, that was the panel discussion tonight. It was great. If you had any questions or want to know my perspectives and views and opinions, me, like I was saying earlier, born and raised in Raleigh, North Carolina. Anybody 919? Anybody 919? Hold it down. North Carolina? Anybody North Carolina? But yeah, both of my parents were born and raised in the Congo in Africa. If you don't know where the Congo is at, go. I dare you. Go on Google right now. Go on Google and type in Congo. Type that in, and other Africans get mad at me with the religious rights bill. Ooh, that's a good question. But anywho, type in Congo, and I always call it thanks again. I wish you would have came to the panel discussion, but yeah, let folks know. Like I said, follow me. You're following me. If you're not following me, follow me. Flood this page with hearts and let people know, hey, there's African Aggies on campus who do stuff and have like conversations like this. But yeah, appreciate you. Yeah, and then other Africans get mad at me, but I call it the heart of Congo, the heart of Africa, because if you look literally at the dead center, you'll see this big old, and that's Congo. That's my place. But hey, what's up? Laugh, love. What is up? Yeah, so of course I see you guys still bringing on your people. Bring them on. Invite. Hey, what's up? Bring your people on. My location where I'm at North Carolina A&T State in Greensboro, North Carolina. If you don't know anything about us, Aggie Pride, and I wish you well. But yeah, I'm good. Are you good? You good? Hopefully you good. But yeah, and guys, like I said, invite your followers, share, post it on Twitter, everything. Flood this page up with hearts. That's what's up. Hornet Pride. Oh, bold to say that on the Aggie page. But yeah. So here at North Carolina A&T, we had a panel discussion. Yeah, I was just about to. What's up, Roz? Yeah, I'm just about to tell you. We had a panel discussion tonight. I'm president of the African Club here at North Carolina A&T. Of course, that's the college here. Oh, correction, university. Here at North Carolina A&T State University in Greensboro, North Carolina. And me being president of the African Club, we had a panel discussion tonight. What's up, Mackie? We had a panel discussion tonight entitled, "Why do Africans hate black people?" Or is it black people hate Africans? Ooh, it was one of those. Yeah, so it got deep. African American or African Club? African Club. But of course, we don't discriminate. So everyone is welcome into it. But yeah, I'm president of the African Club here on campus. And so by the time we got done with the show, or not the show, the panel discussion, oh my gosh, there was so many people saying, we need to do this. We don't hate black people, we are black. Oh, and it's quite interesting that you say that. Because there are some black Americans who actually think the exact opposite. That, no, don't call me African, I'm black. The closest person to me, it's funny because African men love American women. That's because African women carry a lot of baggage. Help us, Lord. Yes, they do. But African men, we carry just as much baggage. Don't get me wrong. Trust me. In fact, most African women that I talk to, they always say how African women hate us. No, I take it you're a black American, maybe. I get why African American people say they're not African. Yeah, and I definitely get that. You gotta respect that. I mean, if your great grandparent is the closest thing to Africa, then you wouldn't want to feel as if I need to consider myself African. Just call me black. I definitely understand that. And also the problem comes when too many people are trying to force things onto other people, and it's just like, whoa, first respect my opinion. My first name is Cello. It's pronounced Cello. I always tell people Cello, like Jello. But yeah, my last name is Kavuna. The name, I was born and raised in Raleigh, North Carolina, and then both of my parents are from the Congo in Africa. So that's how you say my name, and that is my name, Raj. But yeah, so it's just one of those things. So not the color of your skin. Oh, deep brother. Okay, yeah, Africa. Yeah, Africa too. What part or how are you African? Nice, and we're at 123. Start off at what, like 60 something? What's up? So you would be African American, exactly. The thing, Somalia. Oh wow, Somalia. Okay, big ups to you. Were you born in Somalia too, or you were born here in America and both your parents are Somalian, or how is that? Nah, not at all. Who's your favorite black idol? No, I'm Canadian. Oh wow. And I actually don't do idols. I believe in you should have no other idols before me, so I don't have no idols. But yeah, both my parents are Somali. Oh wow. Okay, big ups to that. There was a question I was trying to think about. Somebody asked a question and everything earlier. But Somali. Okay, yeah, that's what I'm still on. But yeah, like I said, we did the panel discussion tonight. It was crazy. Crazy good. The panelists that we had up there, we had an African student representing the African population, everything that we believe or how we feel, think about how we feel. Then we had a Black American student represent the Black American, what you call it? Oh, thoughts on Prince. Whew. Somebody just asked me thoughts on Prince. Yeah, I'm talking to my roommate. You want to put on or not? You good? He say you good. I mean, it's tough. Most African people who come to the U.S. didn't know there was slavery here. I would actually disagree with that. I would definitely disagree with that. Most Africans know that the slaves that came here were from there. So that's why I would go so far to disagree with that. But thoughts on Prince, I mean, it's just one of those things. I mean, so many people take life for granted. I'm not saying Prince took life for granted at all. I'm not. But what I'm saying is, your timing on here is so purposeful. I mean, you could be here today, but be gone tomorrow. So my philosophy is like, not live every day like it's your last. No, don't do that. My philosophy on that is live every day how you want to be remembered. Simply because, I mean, say if, God forbid, you get into a car accident. I mean, you want people knowing you as the person who did this all the time, who did that? Nah. Have something full of character, something meaningful. That's my take on that. But yeah, Prince Willie, he was a great artist, great entertainer. He did so much for the industry, big time. So hey, it was just one of those things. It was time to go. So, you know, hey, we have our lives, but we just gotta value it. But they don't teach American history in certain countries. Africa must study their own. Africans hate black people countries. Good point. You do make a valid point. One thing also, I'm not sure if you're familiar with like apartheid and everything that happened in South Africa. 420. Someone asked, do I celebrate 420? No, I do not partake in 420 actions and festivities. But nah, if you're familiar with apartheid and how everything went, if you've ever seen Serafina, go ahead and blow this thing up with some hearts. Serafina, Whoopi Goldberg, blow this thing up. Okay. Ooh, and why do we have heterosexual hate homosexual? What are your thoughts on it? Ooh, y'all are coming in hot with the questions. My good gosh. But yeah, shout out to Serafina and everything like that. Like even the scene in and it really is education. The scene where there was this one scene in Serafina where Whoopi Goldberg, she was teaching, and there was these white generals who were walking by. She changed up her whole subject. Because, especially in places like Africa, they teach you a system, and this is America too. I mean, if you really want to be honest, this is America too. They teach you a system that they want you to follow, even though they know is not the tacit truth. But they purposely teaching you what they teaching you so you can have that mindset of everything that they want you to receive. So me also being I'm also a business management entrepreneurship student here at A&T, and me, I'm always thinking outside the box. I never liked the idea of go to college and get your degree so you can get a good job. No, go to college. Would you strike Celine Gomez? Go to college, get you a nice degree so you can have your own business. The answer to a lot of things go by your opinion and emotion. Right. And that's the thing too. In business, you can't make emotion-based decisions. You have to make business decisions. So at the end of the day, strategically, everything that they I'm about to be careful with what I'm about to say. But strategically, with everything that was done in the scramble for Africa, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the scramble for Africa and everything like that. But the idea of when Poland, Belgium, Great Britain, all these places went to Africa and basically stripped Africans of everything, their land, their money, their resources, all that good stuff. That was the scramble for Africa. And it's just one of those things to where strategically, hear me out on this. Strategically, that was done so well. And I'm looking at it from a business perspective, not just because I'm African and I'm mad or I lost my roots or anything like that, but strategically what was done, going into the system, stripping out everything that they was already taught and putting the mentality of everything that's there now, you couldn't do it any better. And now it's just our jobs as Africans, this is a real fact, just says exactly. And the thing is, you gotta bust your butt to get those hard facts and those knowledge and everything like that. And that's why I encourage, go to Africa, hear the storytellers, they'll enlighten you, they'll tell you some big things. But yeah, welcome to the chat, welcome. Yeah, so of course we're just talking about a whole bunch of stuff, different races there in the world, way too many for me to count, if you really want to be honest. To answer that question, way too many for me to count, because most people just put races or anything like that in one category, but at the same time there's still others out there. What's up? And that's a good point. But when you hear from 3 or 4 storytellers who tell you the same picture, they may have a different scenery in the background, but when they paint the same picture, overall message, hey, there's some credibility and accountability in there somewhere. But yeah, I am a student here at North Carolina A&T State University, Aggie Pride, in Greensboro, North Carolina. And I'm president of the African Club here at North Carolina A&T. And we did a panel discussion tonight entitled, "Why Do Africans Hate Black People?" What's up, Nyla? Yeah, so we did a panel discussion, why do Africans hate black people, or is it black people hate Africans? And it got real. You might be able to see a previous video, but I recorded the whole thing, periscoped it. There's some people who wanted me to put it on Periscope. There's some people who was catching Snapchats, putting it on their stories. Those people who came out from Winston-Salem State, UNCG, like it was big. But yeah, if you guys have your questions and all that stuff, I can give my perspective, of course. But yeah, if you have any questions, just post it. And then we're just going through the list of everything. So, yep. Let's see. We definitely had it balanced tonight, and I purposely made sure it was a bit intimate. So the time that we started was 8 to 9:30, because that's actually the times they get the college students out. As you can see, 12:16 right now. Might catch them in the club, a little after party right now. But if you want to catch the college students, do a late event. So that's what we did. And then, of course, there was so many people who had questions. As soon as I got a Periscope question, I went to the mic and I asked the question for the panel tonight, and it was crazy. And start a new history. That's a good point. Welcome, Rob. Welcome. Like I said, panel discussion tonight was something interesting. If you have a chance, go check out the other video if you got some time to watch it. There were some students who brought up some great points, and then we had some panelists who actually answered, and it was really great, and informative too. One of the main things that we wrapped around was the fact that so many people just don't want to know. They want to get to know about the different cultures, and then what brings on that extra bit of hatred is when we see when I say we, I'm talking Africans now, because it's kind of crazy because I could go both ways. I was born and raised in Raleigh, North Carolina, and both my parents are from the Congo. So, of course, on paper, I'm a true African American. You get that? So, watch this. On paper, I'm considered a true African American. in a setting to where nobody else's parents, nobody else's grandparents is African or born in that continent or anything like that, I'm the only person in the room who's African. But in a setting to where my peers, they were born and raised over there in Africa, both their parents are African, I'm the only American in the room. So there are times when I could either associate myself with just African, associate myself as African American, or just associate myself with of course the other one. So it's like, dang, which one do you associate yourself with? Whenever somebody asks me ethnicity or background or anything like that, I say I'm African. I'm 100% proud to call myself African. But to other Africans, you're not African. You're African American. You're American. And it's just one of those things that all these categories are these lists. I mean, it's helping out with the divide. If you really want to be honest, it's helping out. And what's up, those who are just joining? What's up? Like I said, add on your followers and everything like that. Flood this thing up with some hearts and all that good stuff. So we're making it work. I mean, do you guys have any questions for me on my perspectives on what I think? I kind of got it to where I don't want to really say best of both worlds, but could give a perspective on both, because I've been there with on both sides, where I've been the only African in the room. I've also been the only black person in the room. That's a whole nother thing. But I noticed that oftentimes in a setting to where there are Africans and there are black Americans in the room, it would always comes off as if the Africans don't like the black Americans that are in the room. Or whenever there's black Americans who are working in a setting of just Africans, they always come off as the outcast, or I don't want to work with them, or I don't want to work with these people. And the reason behind that is because Africans tend to understand that Americans, and black Americans, especially black Americans, take things for granted. We pay attention to the little details of stuff that doesn't even matter. And therefore we've never been to, and I'm gonna bring up I'll bring up a community service event that we was gonna do, but tend to bring up stuff, tend to bring up little events or little things that don't even really matter. So what most times happens is that there's black Americans who never been to a third world country, never been to a place like Panama or anything like that, and understood that there's a family of 6 sharing 1 cup of water to drink. And then so, and yes, there is. And so the thing is, when you're in Africa, you understand that every drop of water is precious. Every bit of food on your plate is valuable. And when we come over here and we see people just throwing food away, and we see people cussing out the teachers, cussing out the professors and all that stuff, and most of the times it's black Americans doing it, we're just like, wow, black Americans are so ungrateful. Black Americans are lazy. They don't want to learn. They don't want to go to school. They have all this free education. They're not taking advantage of it. But in Africa, you got to wear uniforms. In Africa, you got to respect the teacher. There's no such thing as asking questions. And little details like that play a huge role in why it seems as if Africans hate black people. Yeah. What's up? And it's not exactly, I stated that it is not just black Americans, but oftentimes the ones to pop off at the mouth at the teacher is black Americans, and that's our thing. We're so quick to say something. Us as black Americans, we're so quick to say something, but at the same time, we don't want to learn what you're trying to teach us. That's one thing I grew up visually watching. And it's just like, dang, if y'all knew. Going to the community service event. I set up a community service event it was a monthly thing. And it wasn't even just feed the homeless. It was just going to the homeless shelter and just being an ear to listen. Because, I don't know, have any of you guys ever been to a homeless shelter? Not even a shelter. Any of you guys ever been around homeless people? Like, homeless people be wanting to speak. Homeless people be wanting wanting to be heard. And when they feel isolated and being outcasted, I think that's the biggest part that hurts. And then so I purposely set up a community service event to where we would go and we would just be here. Sometimes we'll take Panera Bread, sometimes we wouldn't. And then so we would do stuff like that. And we only had a group of people, mainly Black Americans, which was quite interesting, who were mainly the ones saying they didn't have time for it, or they was doing 2 jobs, or they got little stuff like that. And it's like, well, dang, you had a whole month. In between 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., you didn't have to be there the whole time, but just being there for 5-15 minutes. That's all that mattered. You had some people who took it upon themselves and said, I don't have time to do any of that stuff. I don't have time. I don't want to do any of that stuff because I got other things I feel obligated to. And then it's like, that's one of the little things to where it's like, dang, you've never been to a third world country. You've never seen people struggle. But if you were put in their shoes and you were the one struggling, you would want everybody to come see you. You would want everybody to pour blessings into your life. And it's like, it doesn't work like that. But anywho, if there aren't any last questions and all that stuff, we're about to go ahead and end this chat. Appreciate all you guys who viewed on and tuned in. If there aren't any questions, we'll probably end up continuing this conversation a little bit later and all that good stuff. But appreciate all you guys. Like I said, hey, I'll be here. You want to post something, you want to say something, I'm all here. Oh, I appreciate you. And I mean, it's just facts. I mean, one of those things is just that it's what I tell people all the time. Once you understand perspectives, really understand perspectives and start respecting different opinions, it can make you effective. Almost effective to where it becomes dangerous. But at the same time, it makes you understand where somebody else is coming from. And until you see where somebody else is coming from, to be honest, you really have nothing to say to them. If you're just trying to beat your opinion, your perspective on them, and they're not receiving it, it's not going to work. Trust me. Your jobs, wherever you're going, school, those who are the students up there and everything like that, in school, if you don't understand, and they do completely, thank you. Perspectives definitely change with age. And it's one of those things where you got to start early. Because there's some people who, once they get older, they're used to one thing and they stick to one thing. And they don't want to learn no more. But the older you get, just make sure you're still willing to learn. So that's one of those things. But yeah, so you guys be blessed. You guys take care. I'm here. I'll let you guys know the next time we do another panel discussion and everything like that too. But alright now. Peace.